What's going on, everybody? Adalus here, and we're back with another exciting adventure of Minecraft Eternal. Now, we're kind of between episodes here. Like I said, I wanted to do a little bit of cleaning up in our front yard here. You can see our little farm. And right where I'm standing is where that kind of grave was. Now, I think I'd mentioned it before, if not, but you can find stuff if you dig underneath a grave. I wouldn't suggest that in real life. You might get in some trouble, and it'd be kind of gross. But in Minecraft, at least in Minecraft Eternal, if you dig underneath, you can find some stuff. And that's what we're doing. And I wanted to bring you back before digging too far into it, so that way we could share in the experience together. So you dig down, and you can find some wood underneath. And some more stuff. And we're just going to keep digging. I'm not going to risk using vein miner or excavator. I will continue to use the wrong name forever, I'm sure. Grab the sand just because we can. Oh, see, if we had dug straight down, that would have been our demise. A little bit of gold down here too. Alright, well, I don't know how I want to risk it. Maybe I'll use these stone bricks that we've got. You can see I was cleaning out some stuff up top there. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to fall right on top of that chest there. And then, actually, you know what? Maybe we won't. I've got a better idea. There's something else that we want to do before we get too much farther anyway. So let's try get ourselves out. We'll fill this all back in once we get it sorted out. One of the things we want to do to solve this problem, and I guess we might as well get into it. Actually, you know what? We won't. We will after we get our flight figured out, because then that'll make this whole job a little bit easier too. And that's what I said we were going to get back to at the end of the last episode, so let's do it. Now, what we need to do is we need to get water, flowing water, surrounding these water mills. Now, if we look at our ring here, it says that it uses 16 GP. Now, it uses that, doesn't matter if you're flying or not, just so long as you have it on your person, it's going to cost you that 16 GP. Now, each one of these will make a total of 16 GP. So it says power given 4 GP, but that's actually per side of the block that you have the flowing water on. So if you get all 4 sides, 4 times 4 is 16. Now, we've got 3 of them, so that's going to give us more than what we need, but as you can imagine, we can use GP for other things. So for the time being, since this is all just like a temporary base, we're just going to come down here and dig out yet another hole. I like to do, you know, a little bit of something like this. Again, we're not trying to get too crazy with it. We're just trying to get things set up. Now, if you recall, the reason I like to do things kind of quick and dirty in the beginning is it gives us a baseline to work with to actually do more interesting things. I just find it's a little bit more efficient when you want to start getting into bigger builds and whatnot. When you've got your bags and you've got flight, it just makes things a lot easier. So if we just put the work in now, we'll get it done, and then we can, you know, focus on some more exciting things. Now, typically, one of the best things that you can do with these guys is put them in a bit of a diamond pattern. Now, we don't have enough to really worry about that, so again, as we do quick and dirty, we're just going to slap them down, and we'll figure it out as we go. Now, we're going to need some buckets of water, of course. And we do have bucket. Actually, you know what? Before we get into that, we are going to get into the other thing that I wanted to, because this is going to tie into it. Reservoirs. They are basically bigger buckets. And we've got it up in our bit here. That's exactly what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to clear out some of this junk, because we just don't need it on us. Also, between episodes, I threw up some of these 2x2 drawers for some of the other bulk stuff that was just starting to clutter our inventory. We had dirt, andesite, and gravel. So that freed up a little bit of room here. We don't seem to have anything else that really needs to go anywhere. Our cobblestone's starting to back up again, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. Right now, we'll just work with what we got. Okay, so for our reservoir, now we're going to want two because I can only hold one fluid at a time, well, like one type of fluid. So we're going to need some of these servos. Two. We're going to need 2 more buckets. Then need copper and tin, which we should already have. 2 reservoirs. Now they don't stack, but what we can do is by default they will pick up fluids. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now these basic ones will hold 10 buckets. You can see 10,000 millibuckets. But we can upgrade them as well into hardened. Hardened ones will go up to reinforced. And you can see that's 90 buckets. You know, they start to get pretty big. And at the top tier, 250 buckets. Now, using V by default will switch its mode to fill and empty. So we want to empty it down here. That's why we made it. So now it might take a second, but remember, we want flowing water, and you want the water to actually be as high as possible. So 1 block away is usually your best. And you can see when we hover over them now, it says how much power it's generating. That one's generating 4 because it's got a nice high flowing block of water only on one side. This guy here has it on this side and this side, but he's generating 9 because it's also wrapping around and flowing into there. So we put that there. Now we may not get our full perfect amount. We're not too worried about it right now. We just need enough. We can come back and fix it when we need more grid power. So you can see there the top line says grid power 16 of 42. The 16 is how much we're using, remember, from our ring. The 42 is how much we're generating. Now we're not at our complete maximum right now, but that's okay. Now, if we hit spacebar, oh, we're flying. Now, this isn't creative flight. I'm holding down spacebar, and you can see there's a bar just above our experience that's going down. That's how much flight we actually have. So it's temporary, and it's not creative. So you kind of go up and down. We'll go outside. It's becoming night, or it is night. Oh, and there's a vampire. I don't want that. All right, fine, we'll sleep. You convinced me. So yeah, it's not creative flight, but it is pretty good. You get long enough, and if you're good at kind of feathering the keyboard, your space bar, you can get a little bit more room, or not room, but a little bit more distance out of your flight. Okay? You fly, and there's the vampire. Let's see if we can get rid of him. Come here, come into the light. Come on. Drake. There we go. So, once again, it's not perfect flight, but it is pretty good for early game, and as easy as it is to get and set up in this pack. Now, typically you'd have to make those water mills, and they're still not crazy difficult to make, but there is a bit of a process. Number one, you need redstone. You need to get these redstone, these resonating redstone crystals, which you can get. They're kind of a rare drop from mining out redstone, but you can make them if you have an ender pearl. You make these ender shards with a glass cutter, so a little bit more of a rabbit hole. But again, in this pack, you can kind of cheese a little bit if you use the quests that we did before. And you can see we've got 2 more rewards that we can get. Oh, from making our flying squid ring. And there we go. Mushroom terrarium. See, I believe that's utterly useless. It's just decorative, but yeah, that's what we got. So, all right, so we've got our flight. We set up our water mills to get that. And we got our reservoirs, which is one more thing that I wanted to do down here, because if you seem to recall, we still need lava. And we have lava down here, and we have flight, so it should make it a little bit easier for us. So I'm just going to fall right down on top of that. Pick up our lava. See, it's got it all picked up. There we go. Now I'm going to drop a torch down here just so nothing spawns after we're done. Nothing else going on here. Now these chests you need special keys for, but we'll go ahead and we'll grab it anyway. It's just a common one, but you know, there's probably something neat in it. While we're down here, might as well grab up that. The potassium I don't care about right yet. This gold we will certainly take though. And then we're going to fly back up in our hole, close it back up. And I probably shouldn't have put that dirt away. I'm going to fill this in at least a little bit more. Otherwise the wife will give me hell. Because for some reason she doesn't like holes in the ground. So we'll cover that up. And go back in here and grab our dirt. Just so we can patch things up. Oh, right, I've got it up here. Grab our dirt. That's the flight. Now, it can be a little annoying if you just want to jump, because it always makes you fly just a little bit. But I think that if the bar stays within those 2 yellow bits, I think it gives you feather falling. No. Nope, never mind, I lied. I can't remember what the last little bit there's for, but there we go. Let's put our coal away. Gold. We'll smelt that up when we need it. Take that back out. All right, so there we go. Next up, of importance that we want to make, after we clean up our inventory a little bit, that's just going to go in our random stuff. There we go. Time in a bottle. Now, many of you will probably be familiar with this from other people's playthroughs. Direwolf 20 is a big fan of it. Some people think it's cheaty. I personally don't care. It's just a time saver. So I've already made the clock. You need some gold. You need diamonds, lapis. You know, it's not exactly cheap to make, especially early game, but you want to make it as soon as you can because it stores time. So you can see for every second we stay in the game, it adds another second to this time in a bottle. Now, this is a tick accelerator. So we can use this on tile entities and it will speed them up. Now, it really, like I said, only saves you time because you still have to spend all the required resources in order to do the operations of the machine or the tile entity that you're using it on. So like our furnace generator here, if we pop in a few pieces of coal, you know, it does its thing. Now, I don't know if we have enough time yet, and it'll probably be too full. But the point is, you can see how fast it's ticking over now, right? Now, if we tick it up once, it's probably not, yeah, okay, it is still going faster, but it's full, so it's probably throttled a little bit. So it makes it run faster. So this would technically generate more RF per tick, but it's also going to use the coal just as quickly as if it was running, well, twice as fast. So you're still going to use the twice amount of resources, so it literally only saves you time. And for anybody making a video or content or something like that, you know, we've only got so much time to work with anyway, so it's even better. But even personally, if I'm playing by myself or anything like that, you still want to make it. And you need to keep it in your inventory, because if you put it into like a chest or something like that, it's going to stop ticking up. It has to be in your inventory, and it won't work in your bag. It has to stay in your inventory. But that's not too big of a deal. I mean, if you're really concerned about, you know, saving space, it might be a problem, but for now, we're not going to worry about it. So that's our time in a bottle. We're just trying to catch up on a few little odds and ends right now. So next up, sandwich station. Now this one's a little silly, I will admit, but you know what? I find it interesting enough to try to go over. So, sandwich station is from Culinary Construct, so you guess it. It's kind of a Tinker's Construct. I don't want to call it an add-on because it honestly doesn't really have much to do with Tinker's Construct. It just kind of builds on that same kind of concept of Tinker's, where you can kind of custom make your own sandwiches, because it's a sandwich station. So there you go. Pretty straightforward. We're going to stick it here with the rest of it. Now it's kind of silly, but it does have its uses. Probably later game when you start getting into better foods, you need to start with a piece of bread. Now, luckily, I think it's or dictionaried with most other kinds of bread, and then you can add, well, components to your sandwich, and it'll make a sandwich out of those ingredients. So you can see how it on the bottom right of the tooltip there, it shows your little ham hocks and your saturation. And I'm not sure how the math works, but it seems like it's some kind of average or something like that. Obviously not quite an average, but so it'll give you 4 sandwiches out of our, what's that, 6 pieces of bread here. So this isn't exactly the best example, but you can see it still gives you a lot more food and a little less saturation. So that's why I'm not sure how the math exactly works, but you can combine it with other bits of food, and any piece of food works. So we'll grab some garlic. We'll even grab some raw chicken here. We have a raw chicken and garlic sandwich. Raw chicken and garlic sandwich, look at that. But you can see the food and the saturation on there is a little bit different. Now that only gave us 1, but if you add more food in there, see, it gives us 3 in different values. Now I'm not going to bother with it right now, but it will be something that we're going to play with in the future when we get into a little bit better food. So that's good for now. We've made our reservoirs. Now, you can see we've got a few more things on our little task list up here. We're going to clear out these guys using the A key. And we want to make a hang glider, because that is going to pair well with our flying squid ring to let us travel really long distances. Same thing with the slime boots and the slime sling. Now again, these are pretty common items to make, and they're going to make exploration and travel a lot easier, which is why we want to get it done early on, because we're going to be wanting to do some traveling and some exploration. So, let's see what we have. We're going to need slime, we've got string, and we're going to need slime. Now I don't think we've got near enough slime for this, so we're probably going to have to go looking for stuff anyway. And it looks like here we've got our string, but we do not have any slime. Now, they come in more varieties than just the green. You can do the blue and the pink or the purple. The purple, I believe. But we still don't have any of that. So we are going to have to go find... I prefer to look for the slime islands. I think we've seen them before, floating around somewhere. And if we take a look at our map, you can usually see them. They're kind of tricky because they're floating over the land, right? So you kind of gotta be able to spot them, which I'm not seeing any. So we're gonna have to go take a quick look, see what we can see. It looks like sunset's coming up. So tell you what, we're gonna have a quick nap, go through the night. I'm gonna take a quick wander around and see if I can find us a slime island that we can harvest up. Be right back. Now, one thing I wanted to mention before we head back out is the hang glider. To make the glider wings, we're going to need leather. So actually, while we're out and about, we got to try to do 2 things. We got to find some cows, and we need to find one of those slime islands. Now, one of the things that we could do if we had a lot of zombie flesh is you can actually dry it out into leather, but it doesn't look like we have any. That is a shame, because that would have been an easier way to do it too. But we don't have any, so we're going to have to keep our eye out for some cows. Horses, I suppose, would work too. I think even donkeys will drop leather. I'm going to head out flying. You know what? I just thought one more thing. See, is the problem that I have, maybe it's not a problem, but where I get down the rabbit hole is I try to do things efficiently. Now, one more thing that we're going to want to get into soon, I believe I mentioned it before, is Botania. And one of the things that you can make for Botania is a flower pouch. In order to make a flower pouch, you need a petal. And hopefully we still have some wool. Perfect. All right, so we're going to get a little bit more sidetracked here, but it makes things a little bit more efficient in the long run. So you need 1 petal and 5 wool. makes you a flower pouch. Now this guy, as you can imagine, will automatically pick up petals. Well, flowers, sorry, it doesn't pick up petals. It'll pick up flowers. There we go. Now, it won't pick up these tall ones. We'll have a use for those once we get into Botania, probably in the next episode or two. But they all ended up in here. There we go. See, it's just one more thing to make your collecting stuff more efficient. And while we're out and about, we can try to find a few more flowers. I don't think we really need too many more with the tricks that I like to use. Well, again, not tricks. They are all just normal game mechanics, but there's sometimes ones that people don't realize are there. And they're ones that I go to all the time. I'm going to grab a little bit more string while we code here. I don't really need it, so maybe I'll just leave it. All right, so we're going to be looking around for some cows, maybe a couple more Botania flowers while we're out here, and most importantly, we are out here for slime islands. So I'm going to be wandering around, killing some cows, looking for that aforementioned stuff, and we will be right back. Okay, and we're back. Now, if you look at up on our, you can see it on our screen right there, but if you look on our mini-map, you can see that kind of little blue blob there off to the left. That is our slime island. Looked like it's going to be one of the blue variety. Now, see, one of the reasons we want to get this flight ring is you can notice it's pretty high up in the sky. Now, we're lucky on this one because we've got this really tall hill right here. Now, we might be able to get right up to it, but we'll have to see. Otherwise, you kind of got a noob pillar up to it, which is always a bit obnoxious. While we're here, opportunistic. You know, we're always going to need more feathers at some point. A little bit of food can't hurt. We're probably not going to be out this far looking for chickens again. Alright, so, Slime Island. Here we go. Come on, come on, come on. You can do it. You can do it. And we did it. There's a normal tree up here. Okay, that usually doesn't happen. So, we want these blocks of slime. I like to ore excavate them, you know, makes it a little bit quicker. These ones, and one of the reasons you want to come up here is because these slime trees are up here, and they'll drop slime saplings, which will let us regrow these slime trees and get slime much easier in the future. Now, for the time being, we're not going to go through much more than this anyway. So it's not too big of a deal, but I did break that, and I don't have any cobble to repair. Oh well, we don't need to use the mattock. Anything will do. I just want to harvest this up while we're up here. Now, we are also going to want some of this grass, because you need to plant the trees on the slimy grass. So we just need a few pieces just to make sure that we can plant some of the trees. I'm going to grab up a little bit more of this slime, and then I think we will head back home, make the things that we're trying to make. I didn't have any luck finding any cows, so that will have to be on the agenda for another day. Today we just want to finish up this stuff, get our travel items sorted out. We're just going to teleport back home. Bit of a snack. Now these guys come together pretty easy, so we're just going to slap these together before we wrap up. And I might as well make the green ones. Get some slime balls out of that. So the slime sling, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Same with the slime boots. And these are quest items as well. So we can go. And they're in exploration, because that's what we use them for. Alright, just some coins, but coins are good. Alright, now if you're not familiar, slime sling you equip as a normal item. Boots, well, they go on your feet. Who'da thunk it? So, now what this does, slime sling will propel you in the opposite direction that you're facing. And the slime boots act like you just jumped onto a slime block. So it'll negate any fall damage and give you a big jump boost. Combined with our Ring of the Flying Squid, we can travel pretty easily. So like I said, launches you in the opposite direction. You look kind of down at an angle, and behind you, launches you back. When you're at the peak, you hit your space bar to fly, and now you're flying. And also, if you let go and fall, where are you getting frames? Wow, look at that, generating some terrain. The boots make you bounce. Now, not only that, but they actually increase your speed a little bit. So if you time things right, you can kind of land on like treetops and stuff, bounce, hit your space bar, fly a bit. Yeah, then you can fall back down, bounce. And then if you ever stop, can't get going, or you actually run out of flight and can't keep moving around, you can just use your slime sling all over again and start the process. And it just lets you move real fast. Now, once we get our hang glider, we can hang in the air a lot longer, which will let us go even farther. And while you're flying, you can still use your squid ring and get even higher. So we're going to try to explore that if we can manage to get the leather for it. For the time being, this is going to be our main mode of transportation. And if you don't want to bounce, just try to feather your space bar again, or you can just hold shift and that lands you right on the ground. But we've got all of our travel and exploration stuff sorted for the most part. Like I said, we're still going to want to try to get the hang glider, but that's going to take a little bit more doing, it looks like. But we are all out of time for today, so we're going to have to try to look at that another day. All right. So thanks for coming out to hang out with me. I hope you liked the episode, and we will catch you in the next one. Have a good one.